Georgie and Mandy will end up breaking up. The root of the problem, which dates back to the beginning of their relationship, was laid bare in episode 16 of season 1 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. Although the episode was humorous and relevant, it became less amusing when one considers the consequences of their jokes. Compared to other recent stories, the episode's main idea was more serious. Georgie was ready to have a family after seeing the pediatrician, but Mandy was not. Despite the story being set in the 1990s, the fight for reproductive rights and related concerns in the U.S. makes it incredibly timely. The fact that Mandy's life had taken a sudden and unexpected turn after her first unintended pregnancy made her worried that she would be unable to continue pursuing her career. The fact that Georgie had a hard time admitting that Mandy wasn't emotionally prepared to have additional children at this time is also quite realistic. In our culture, this is a common problem for married couples, particularly when one spouse decides they want more children than the other, which can cause a reversal of the initial plan. Georgie and Mandy were not good at dealing with it. Arguing about it, they went in circles. After Mandy kicked Georgie out of her bed, he went to his mom's house without immediately informing Mandy that he was planning to spend the night there. Having a second kid would not be recommended based on this type of conduct. In addition to this major argument, it suggests there are deeper issues in the relationship. One problem is that they aren't good at resolving arguments. Tragically, they have never had an exemplary adult to look up to and learn from. Georgie and Mandy followed in the footsteps of the Mallisters and the Coopers, who both engage in destructive patterns of constant bickering that eventually lead to one spouse giving up. Despite appearances, none of those items constitute the major issue in this relationship. The constant barrage of outside influences causes Georgie and Mandy to clash in each episode. Because of her financial woes and her hatred of Georgie, Mandy's mother takes on tasks that are pointless, frustrating, or both. However, this is not the issue. There will be no drama-driven breakup between Mandy and Georgie. There will be a solid reason for their breakup. They are too different and have never been able to bond in any meaningful sense beyond being parents. That was brilliantly shown in one joke in the 16th episode of season 1 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. Mandy wanted to live in Miami or some other faraway location, but Georgie wanted to stay in Texas. After understanding that they had differing desires, the two created a joke that wasn't very funny. The problem, they reasoned, was that they needed to stop chatting with each other. This was obviously staged for comedic effect, but it's just as believable as the All in the Family scene where Mike and Gloria vowed to live forever so they could stop worrying about their son's safety. Their lack of communication, inability to handle serious arguments, and confusion about each other's backgrounds prior to marriage remain the most significant issues in their relationship. The continual jokes about Connor's weirdness and how having him didn't work out were the one weakness in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, Episode 16, and that's unacceptable. My earlier criticism of the show at the start of Season 1 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage was uncool, and I still feel the same way now. Connor is treated in an incredibly inconsistent manner throughout the comedy. Episode 15 of Season 1 focuses on Georgie and Mandy's first marriage and features Connor well. But then he becomes the target of jokes that imply his eccentricity makes him less than average. Particularly heavy-handed is the episode in question. Every 2 minutes or so, someone would make a joke about how having Connor was a bad idea or how unapproachable he was. Baby Fight nearly made up for it with its endearing scene with Connor and Mandy. The fact that Connor could relive each instance of Mandy's bullying of him from their childhood was tragically amusing and tragically sad. I can really identify with that because I was the kid whose siblings caused us pain, but we all eventually forgot about it. I'm still confused about the source of Mandy's sincere apologies at the scene's conclusion, but it was wonderful. The feeling was beautiful, especially in the lead-up to Siblings Day. It was genuine and heartfelt, yet it seemed unrelated to everything that had gone before. Being reminded that it originated from Young Sheldon is not always a bad thing. For Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, all too frequently it acts as though it were a whole separate series, unrelated to the original. Previews suggest that next week's episode will feature even more of George's visit to Mary and their conversation about Sheldon and Missy, both of which were enjoyable additions to the program. However, I fail to see why it is necessary to have Pastor Jeff present every time Mary is. He appears to have a larger role here than he did on Young Sheldon. Episode 16 of Season 1 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. What was your take on it?